Hello, everyone. I'm going to share 5 techniques used by Japanese students. These techniques will help you remember more, study better, and do well in exams. The tips are easy, useful, and work for everyone. You can use them to learn a new language, prepare for tests, or get better at any skill. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll have all the tools you need to boost your memory and take your learning to the next level. Active learning and repetition. Active. Learning means you do more than just read or listen. You must use your brain to think and practice. Japanese students are very good at this. They do not only memorize facts, instead, they practice what they learn over and over again until they remember everything. This is why they are so successful in their studies. Repetition is very important for remembering things. If you see or hear something only one time, you may forget it quickly. But if you repeat it many times, your brain will remember it better. For example, imagine you want to learn new words in English. Just reading the words once will not help you remember them. Instead, you should write them down, say them out loud, and use them in sentences. You can also make flashcards with the words on one side and their meanings on the other. Every time you review the flashcards, your brain gets better at remembering the words. Japanese students often use a method called spaced repetition. This means they review things at different times instead of all at once. For example, they might study a word today, then review it after 1 day, then after 3 days, and then after 1 week. Each time they review, their memory becomes stronger. This method works because it gives the brain time to rest between reviews. There are apps like Anki that help with spaced repetition. These apps show you flashcards at the right time so you can remember better. For example, if you remember a word easily, the app will show it to you less often. But if you struggle to remember a word, the app will show it to you more often. This way, you spend more time on the things you find difficult. You can also use active learning and repetition in your own studies. Start by making a plan. Decide what you want to learn and how you will practice it. For example, if you want to learn math, solve problems every day. Do not just read the formulas. Practice using them in different problems. If you want to learn a language, practice speaking and writing every day. Use flashcards to review vocabulary. Write down important points and test yourself regularly. The more you practice, the better you will remember. Here are some tips to help you use active learning and repetition. First, do not just read or listen. Practice what you learn. For example, if you are learning history, do not just read about events. Try to explain them in your own words. Or if you are learning science, try doing experiments or solving problems. This will help you understand better. Second, use flashcards to review important information. Flashcards are small cards with questions on one side and answers on the other. You can use them to review vocabulary, formulas, or facts. Carry them with you so you can review them any time, like when you are waiting for the bus or standing in line. Third, review things at different times. This is called spaced repetition. For example, if you are learning a new language, review the words you learned today tomorrow, then 3 days later, and then 1 week later. This will help your brain remember them for a long time. Fourth, test yourself to check how much you remember. Testing is a great way to practice active learning. For example, if you are studying for an exam, try answering practice questions without looking at your notes. This will help you find out what you know and what you need to review. Finally, stay consistent. Practice a little bit every day instead of studying for many hours at one time. For example, if you study for 30 minutes every day, you will remember more than if you study for 5 hours in one day. Consistency is the key to success. By using active learning and repetition, you can remember things better and for a longer time. This is why Japanese students are very good at remembering what they study. They practice every day, review things at the right times, and test themselves to make sure they understand. You can do the same thing to improve your memory and become a better learner. Mnemonic devices and visualization. Mnemonic devices and visualization are powerful tools to help you remember things. Mnemonic devices are tricks that make it easier to recall information. For example, you can use acronyms, rhymes, or stories to connect new information to things you already know. Japanese students often use these techniques to remember difficult facts, formulas, or vocabulary words. Visualization means creating pictures in your mind. When you see something in your imagination, it becomes easier to remember. For example, if you want to remember a list of items, you can imagine them as part of a funny or unusual picture. Let's say you need to remember the words apple, book, and cat. You can imagine an apple sitting on top of a book and a cat jumping over both of them. This kind of mental image is hard to forget because it is so vivid. Japanese students also use mind maps to organize information. A mind map is like a drawing that shows how ideas are connected. For example, if you are studying science, you can draw a big circle in the middle with the word plants, and then add smaller circles around it with words like roots, leaves, and flowers. This helps you see how everything fits together. Mind maps are especially helpful for remembering complex topics because they make the information easier to understand. You can use mnemonic devices and visualization in your own studies. Start by thinking about what you need to remember. For example, if you are learning a language, you can use acronyms to remember grammar rules. If you are studying history, you can create a story to connect important events. For math or science, you can use rhymes or songs to remember formulas. The key is to make the information fun and interesting so your brain will remember it better. Here are some tips to help you use mnemonic devices and visualization. First, use acronyms to remember lists or steps. For example, if you need to remember the order of operations in math, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, you can use the acronym PEMDAS. This makes it easier to recall the steps when you need them. Second, create vivid mental images. For example, if you are learning new vocabulary, imagine the word as a picture. If the word is mountain, imagine a tall mountain with snow on top. If the word is happy, imagine a smiling face. The more colorful and unusual the image, the better your brain will remember it. Third, use stories to connect ideas. For example, if you are studying history, you can create a story about the people and events you are learning. Imagine yourself, as part of the story, walking through the events as they happen. This will make the information more memorable. Fourth, try drawing mind maps. Start with the main topic in the center and add branches for related ideas. Use colors, symbols, and pictures to make the mind map more interesting. For example, if you are studying geography, you can draw a map of a country and label the cities, rivers, and mountains. This will help you see how everything is connected. Finally, practice using these techniques every day. The more you use mnemonic devices and visualization, the better you will become at remembering things. For example, you can start with something simple, like remembering a shopping list. Use a story or a mental image to connect the items. As you get better, you can use these techniques for more difficult subjects like science or literature. By using mnemonic devices and visualization, you can make learning fun and effective. This is why Japanese students are so good at remembering what they study. They use these techniques to turn difficult information into something easy to recall. You can do the same thing to improve your memory and become a better learner. Couple study and peer teaching. Group study and peer teaching are two powerful ways to improve your memory and understanding. When you study with others, you can share ideas, ask questions, and learn from each other. Japanese students often form study groups to help them prepare for exams or understand difficult topics. This method works because explaining something to someone else forces you to think deeply about it, which helps you remember it better. Peer teaching means teaching what you have learned to another person. For example, if you are studying math, you can explain a problem to your friend. If you are learning history, you can tell your group about an important event. Teaching others helps you because you must organize your thoughts and make sure you understand the topic clearly. If you cannot explain something, it means you need to review it again. This is why peer teaching is so effective. In a group study, everyone has a role. One person might lead the discussion, another might take notes, and another might ask questions. This way, everyone stays focused and active. Group members can also quiz each other. For example, if you are studying vocabulary, one person can ask the words, and the others can answer. This makes studying more fun and interactive. Japanese students also use group study to solve problems together. For example, if they are working on a science project, they divide the work among the group. One person might research, another might write, and another might create diagrams. By working together, they can finish the project faster and learn more than if they worked alone. Group study also helps students stay motivated because they encourage each other to do their best. You can use group study and peer teaching in your own learning. Start by finding a few friends who want to study the same subject as you. Decide what you will study and how you will work together. For example, if you are preparing for an exam, assign each person a topic to teach to the group. This way, everyone learns from each other, and no one has to study everything alone. Here are some tips to make group study and peer teaching effective. First, choose the right people for your group. Pick friends who are serious about studying and will not distract you. A small group of 3 to 5 people is usually best because it is easier to manage. Second, set clear goals for each study session. For example, decide what topics you will cover and how much time you will spend on each one. This will help you stay focused and avoid wasting time. Third, take turns teaching each other. For example, if you are studying science, one person can explain a concept and the others can ask questions. This will help everyone understand the topic better. Fourth, quiz each other regularly. For example, if you are learning a language, one person can ask vocabulary questions, and the others can answer. This will help everyone remember the words. Finally, stay positive and encourage each other. Studying with others should be fun and helpful. If someone makes a mistake, do not criticize them. Instead, help them understand the correct answer. This will create a supportive environment where everyone can learn. By using group study and peer teaching, you can improve your memory and understanding. This is why Japanese students often study in groups. They know that working together helps them learn faster and remember more. You can do the same thing to become a better learner. 4. Discipline and consistency. Discipline and consistency are two of the most important habits for success in learning. Japanese students are known for their strong work ethic and ability to stay focused on their studies. They follow a strict schedule and study a little bit every day instead of waiting until the last minute to prepare for exams. This disciplined approach helps them remember more and perform better. Being disciplined means having self-control and sticking to your plans. For example, if you decide to study for 1 hour every evening, you must do it no matter what. Even if you feel tired or distracted, you should push yourself to complete your study session. Over time, this habit becomes easier and you will see great results. Discipline also means avoiding distractions like phones, social media, or TV while you study. These things take away your focus and make it harder to remember what you learn. Consistency is about doing something regularly over a long period of time. For example, if you want to learn a new language, studying for 30 minutes every day is much better than studying for 5 hours once a week. This is because your brain needs time to process and store new information. When you study consistently, your brain builds stronger connections and you remember things more easily. Japanese students often use planners or calendars to keep track of their study schedules. They write down what they will study each day and check it off when they finish. This helps them stay organized and motivated. You can also develop discipline and consistency in your own studies. Start by setting small, realistic goals. For example, decide how much time you will study each day and what topics you will cover. Make sure your goals are specific so you know exactly what to do. For instance, instead of saying, "I will study math today," say, "I will solve 10 algebra problems today." This makes it easier to stay focused. Here are some tips to help you stay disciplined and consistent. First, create a daily routine. Set aside a specific time for studying every day, such as early in the morning or before dinner. Stick to this time even if you do not feel like studying. Over time, it will become a habit, and you will not have to think about it anymore. Second, eliminate distractions. Find a quiet place to study where no one will bother you. Turn off your phone or put it on silent mode. If you are using a computer, close unnecessary websites or apps. This will help you concentrate better. Third, break your work into small parts. For example, if you have a lot of material to study, divide it into smaller sections and focus on one section at a time. This makes the task less overwhelming and easier to complete. Fourth, reward yourself for staying disciplined. For example, After finishing your study session, treat yourself to something you enjoy, like watching a favorite show or eating a snack. This will motivate you to keep going. Finally, track your progress. Keep a journal or use a planner to write down what you study each day. Seeing how much you have accomplished will make you feel proud and encourage you to continue. You can also set weekly goals and review them at the end of the week to see how well you did. By being disciplined and consistent, you can improve your memory and understanding. This is why Japanese students are so successful in their studies. They stick to their schedules, avoid distractions, and study a little bit every day. You can do the same thing to achieve your learning goals. 5. Mindfulness and mental health. Mindfulness and mental health are very important for learning and remembering. If your mind is tired or stressed, it becomes hard to focus and remember things. Japanese students understand this, so they take care of their minds and bodies. They make sure they get enough sleep, eat healthy food, and take breaks when they study. This helps them stay calm, focused, and ready to learn. Mindfulness means paying attention to the present moment without worrying about the past or future. For example, when you study, you should focus only on what you are doing right now. Not think about other tasks or problems. You can practice mindfulness by taking deep breaths before you start studying. Close your eyes, breathe in slowly through your nose, and then breathe out through your mouth. Repeat this a few times. This will help you feel calm and ready to focus. Taking care of your mental health also means avoiding burnout. Burnout happens when you study too much without resting. Your brain gets tired, and you may feel frustrated or lose motivation. To avoid this, take short breaks during your study sessions. For example, after studying for 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break. Stand up, stretch, or go for a short walk. This gives your brain time to rest and recharge. Japanese students often use this method called the Pomodoro technique to stay fresh and focused. Sleep is another important factor for memory and learning. When you sleep, your brain organizes and stores the information you learned during the day. If you do not get enough sleep, your brain cannot do this properly, and you may forget what you studied. Japanese students know this, so they make sure to get at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. They also avoid studying late at night, because it makes it harder to fall asleep and reduces the quality of their rest. Eating healthy food is also important for brain function. Your brain needs energy to work well, and you get this energy from the food you eat. For example, foods like fruits, vegetables, nuts, and fish are good for your brain. They provide vitamins and nutrients that help you focus and remember things. On the other hand, eating too much junk food or sugary snacks can make you feel tired and unfocused. Japanese students often eat balanced meals with rice, fish, and vegetables to keep their brains sharp. Exercise is another way to improve your mental health. Physical activity increases blood flow to your brain, which helps you think more clearly. Even a short walk or some stretching can make a big difference. Japanese students often participate in sports or physical activities as part of their daily routine. This helps them stay healthy and reduces stress. You can also take care of your mental health in your own life. Start by setting aside time to relax and do things you enjoy. For example, listen to music, read a book, or spend time with friends and family. These activities reduce stress and make you feel happier. You can also practice mindfulness by focusing on your breathing or paying attention to the world around you. This will help you stay calm and focused. Here are some tips to improve your mindfulness and mental health. First, get enough sleep every night. Try to go to bed and wake up at the same time every day. This will help your body develop a healthy routine. Second, eat nutritious food. Include fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and proteins in your meals. Avoid too much sugar or processed food because they can make you feel tired and unfocused. Third, take breaks during your study sessions. Use the Pomodoro technique. Study for 25 minutes, then take a 5-minute break. This will help you stay fresh and avoid burnout. Fourth, exercise regularly. Even 10 to 15 minutes of physical activity, like walking or stretching, can improve your focus and energy levels. Finally, practice mindfulness every day. Take a few minutes to breathe deeply and clear your mind. Focus on the present moment instead of worrying about the future or past. This will help you feel calm and ready to learn. By taking care of your mindfulness and mental health, you can improve your ability to focus and remember things. This is why Japanese students are so successful in their studies. They take care of their minds and bodies, which helps them stay calm, focused, and ready to learn. You can do the same thing to achieve your learning goals, and that's it. These are the 5 techniques inspired by Japanese students to help you remember more, study smarter, and reach your goals. Whether you're preparing for exams, learning something new, or just want to improve your memory, these tips can make a big difference. If you found these tips helpful, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more useful content. And let me know in the comments, which technique are you going to try first? I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Keep learning, stay consistent, and take care.